this session is divided into 3 parts and then the practical part. First of all, we need to know about what do you mean by reference management software and why do we need them. What is their importance in academic writing, and how basically what are the functions that they can help us with. The second part is Google Scholar. Most of you are familiar with Google Scholar and its features, but today I'm just trying to focus on the features related to Mendeley, and the third part, which is the basically practical points that we need to know how to do, and then we're going to use it to import or add references to Mendeley, and then we will see how Mendeley can help us organize our references, how to use Mendeley, and this is perhaps the most important part, at least at this stage of your project, is how to use it in writing, basically, and then how to change these referencing and the citation stuff. So first things first, let's imagine writing the old way before Mendeley, without endnote, without this. So if you want to say like write a paragraph or part of your thesis or your project or your report or your manuscript, so the classical steps where you go search for the references and then basically copy and paste kind of thing, okay, in a Word document, and then you need to keep track of which code or idea or data came from which reference. So you need to make sure that this code belongs to this reference, or this statistics is coming from this report, and so on and so forth. And so that when you add them as references, then you know which reference should go where. And obviously, when we talk about references in any document, there are 2 places. The so-called in-text, which means that, for example, the WHO report on COVID-19 has shown that X% of the countries did not receive the first dose of COVID vaccine, for example. And at the end of this sentence, I need to put the reference for the WHO report, which says that, right? At the same time, I have to add the same list at the very end of the document, so that the so-called the reference list of the references, or so the list of references that you have used in your work. So this is the in-text, and then at the end there is the list of references. As I said, it's either numerical, which is basically you end the sentence with a number, and this number at the end of the list, for example, number 1 or number 2 or number 5 or number 7. If you go to the list, then this number 5 should be the same number 5 in the list, which is, for example, the WHO report on this or that, okay? And then if you need to change the style, if you are, for example, you have started by Harvard and then you wanted to change it to Vancouver, for example, then you need to change it from the text format into the numerical format, and you have to do this manually, and so on. So and you have to change them in the same order and everything. Just imagine doing all of these steps. I understand that it could be like 2, 3, 4, 5, even 10 references should somehow be manageable. But usually in any manuscript or report, it's more likely than not we use more than 10, 15, 20, or even more references, okay, in our work. So it doesn't make sense, to be honest, to do all of this work in the manual format, which is basically do it by hand. So the reference management software in general, by reference management software, by the way, this is the main category, the main umbrella under which Mendeley, EndNote, and others are categorized, are in. Okay, so all of this software or all of this software, the aim is they're called reference management software or reference management tools. Sometimes they are called. So anyway, number 1, it helps us to bring the references from the database that we and not only from the database and from online sources, even from your computer, basically. If, for example, if you have, and we'll see that if you have a folder with a number of articles or resources or files that you have been saving, so what Mendeley can do for you is they you basically bring the folder, if you wish, import the folder, and it will sort it out, transferring all these files into references in your library. Okay, and we'll see that. The second point is reference organization, and for example, you can, instead of having all the references in the single library, what you can do is divide them into folders, and you can add the same reference to have basically to have two labels, or to be in two different folders, tagging and keywording, and then search and retrieval. Obviously, you can search for the references that you have in your library, and to use them in your document. Citation and bibliography generation. So this is perhaps the main function that we are familiar with, is to use it for our citation. And for the word citation, for those who might be confused, or what does it mean, it's basically referring the piece of information that we have to a reference. So that's by citation, I mean that you need to mention the reference from which this data or this information or this opinion or whatever you are adding to your manuscript are done. And then annotation and note taking. This is a function, but I'm not sure that if we're going to have the time to cover today, but I'll do my best to cover as much as possible. So it gives you the opportunity to open the PDF file, and basically to highlight it, to add notes to it, which is like, so that when you open it again, you have the highlights, you have the annotations, you have the tags, so that you can basically see what the important parts or the important notes that you have taken. So anyway, these are just examples of reference management tools or reference management software. For now, I'm going to call them reference management software, RMS for short. Okay. The good news is most of them have very similar features, so that if you are trained on Mendeley, dealing with EndNote will be easier. If you are dealing with EndNote, then dealing with Mendeley or Zotero or any other software should somehow be easier, because more or less they share the same main features. The differences perhaps is the interface in some features and so on. So why Mendeley? First of all, because it's free, and I hope it will always be. But it has some premium options if you wish. The cross-platform compatibility, by this I mean it works on Mac, it works on Windows, it works on smartphones, which gives you kind of like reasonable, the convenience and feasibility. And then obviously the integration with MS Word, it's part of MS Word. The PDF management and annotation, as I said, because, and we'll see that. Yeah, so you might not imagine it, but it's basically when you have the library, you have the references, you click on the reference, it will open for you the PDF file, and then basically you can highlight it, you can take notes and so on. Cloud syncing and backup, I just said about that. And to be honest, most of the software, not only Mendeley, they have this feature. Open access to research. I think this is one of the things that Mendeley is really good at doing, which is finding you a free version of it, an open access version of the file. Google Scholar is a good way also to find the free sources, and we will go through that in a minute. But Mendeley can basically, it does the job for you on the background, and they can search for a PDF for the file, and then social collaboration and networking, as we mentioned. Keep going. So now we are going to go to Google Scholar. Basically, what I'm going to do is to give you some screenshots of the main features, and then we're going to apply them. Okay. Instead of just applying them like kind of randomly. Anyway. So Google Scholar, just like like Google itself, first of all, it provides a comprehensive search. By comprehensive search, for example, where do we usually search for our for references? If I ask what is the difference between searching in Medline and PubMed and searching in Google Scholar, you might not be familiar with the term, but have you encountered the term or peer-reviewed journal? So peer-reviewed journals. To publish in a journal, and we'll come to that at a later stage of the project, is you do your research project, you have a final report, you write it in a manuscript, and you send it to a journal, and then they publish it. This is a very short, a long story cut very, very, very short. What happens is, when you send it to the journal, you send it usually to the editor, and the editor send it, if they think they are suitable, they send it to 2 reviewers, and sometimes 3 reviewers, and then get their feedback, and then, so this is called the peer review. Peer reviews means it was reviewed by peers, as the name indicates. Well, Google Scholar is providing more comprehensive. So, for example, it gets us the results from peer-reviewed and unpeer-reviewed sources. Like, for example, thesis from universities, reports from the search option. Basically, you can choose, for example, an article by a certain author, or in a given date, or in a specific journal, and we see an example of that. Then citation tracking. So basically, it gives us some information about more information about the article, how many times it was cited, and we know the importance of that. Then it has a feature which I think it's very important, but sometimes could be if you're not careful, it might drag you. Sometimes if you're not focused, you might get lost, which is the related article. So, for example, if talking about this is the idea, this is the research area I'm interested in, then this, and if you're interested in this article, Google Scholar basically suggests other articles that are related to this topic or similar to this article. And then it provides library links, which is basically how to find the full access of the article. Other features, it goes alerts, which is I think important in terms of for example, if you're interested in a certain author or in a certain journal or something like that, or certain research area, Google Scholar sends you a weekly, sometimes bi-weekly kind of like alert, which is basically that this author has published an article, or there's a new article in the area of interest, and so on. Okay. So this is important, as I said, beyond the current project, in case you're interested in the general area. It is, as we can see, it is integrated with almost all the reference management software. So so basically, what does that mean? What you find in Google Scholar, you can very easily export it into your reference management tool, whether it's Mendeley or EndNote or any other. 8 is about the metrics and metrics-based ranking. It's also quite important because it gives you a clue. You can have your own profile on Google Scholar, by the way, when you start publishing, and this is something that I do recommend that you start doing as early as you possibly from your first publication. Make sure that you have a Scholar Google Scholar profile, and it gives you an indicator. If you, for example, if you want to know if this author is like is one of, for example, you want to contact an author and you want to make sure that this author, for example, is an expert in this area, and how much he has, how many publications, or what is the impact of his work. So these kind of metrics help you to do that, and profile creation, as I just mentioned, and then exporting citation, which is basically anything that you can find on Google Scholar can be exported into any reference management software. Like, I know that you are familiar with the page, but I want to kind of like emphasize certain parts of it. So for as you can see that it is the bar is very similar to that of Google, and then you can search. Then we have this is, for example, this is the result that we have. So let's go through them one by one. So here what you have save. So by save, you are basically kind of like favorite or save it to the library. And this is, but not to get confused, this is not about Mendeley, it's about the Google Scholar library. So you would have, if you have a Google account, basically, or Gmail account, then you can have a Google Scholar library. So basically, you can save it to your library. Okay, but this is different from exporting to Mendeley. So don't get confused. Cite is about if you want to export this reference, this result, to your database, or basically just to copy and paste the 5 main reference sites: the MLA, the APA, Chicago, Harvard, and Vancouver. If you click on all of them, it will be all highlighted, and you can just copy and paste it in your Word document if you want to do this manually. Okay. However, most of us, I would assume that you want to export this reference to your LMS. Okay. So so they give you the main format that you can use. BibTeX is obviously for BibTeX if you are for using BibTeX. EndNote is for EndNote. RefMan is for the code RIS format, which is very popular, and this is the one that we use for Mendeley. And then we have RefWork for RefWork. Okay, so so this is the format. The good news is if you download it or export it in a format, you can still open it with, for example, if you download it as EndNote, you might be able still to open it in reference in Mendeley, for example. Okay, so you don't feel that you have to repeat the whole thing again. But it's better to get used to which one is kind of the default one. Cited by, it's basically how many articles use this reference or this article as a reference. What is the significance of this number cited by? For example, if I tell you that this was cited by 153 articles, and the next in the results, for example, was cited by 5. So it gives you an indicator that this reference is, or this article is perhaps more popular, which means that it could be perhaps more relevant or more significant for me to use to my work as well. Rated articles, as I said, it's about basically they are giving articles that are related to this, which is more or less for example, if you cited by 153, if you click on the related articles, then it will be mostly, the article that use this reference to as a reference for them. Okay, and then we have the all 18 or X versions. So basically, it could be all 18 versions, 8 versions, 5 versions, whatever the number of versions, which is a way of helping you to find an open access, basically. Okay, then an open access or a PDF version, the PDF version, and then here for my profile, which is basically your profile, which is the good news about Google Scholar, that it kind of automatically updates itself. You don't have to add your publications whenever you publish something. You go to your to your profile to add it manually. What Google Scholar does for you is they automatically update whenever you are published. Your name appears on a paper. It automatically adds it to your profile. Here, obviously, we can control the time. The default is the last 5 years because it's usually it is advisable to keep your references as up to date as possible. But however, you can control the date range from here, and then we have the advanced search as we will explore. Okay, so this is the profile page. This is mine. So if you click on the 3 bars here, it gives you more options. For example, case law, so you can change between the results that you found, and mostly the articles, because this is the default. And then you go here to your Google Scholar profile, and then to go to your library, which is basically your saved references. And then alerts, as I said, that you can choose to receive alerts when a researcher that you follow, or a topic that you follow, or a research area that you are interested in to be sent to your email. And then we have the feature for advanced search that we'll talk about in a minute. And then this is the page, which is basically the Google Scholar profile. This is how it looks like. So it gives you an idea about, well, who the person, what are the publications that, and you can sort them by popularity or by year or whatever, and then it gives you some indicators about these numbers. So this is the so-called metrics. For example, the citation, which is how many times the publications of this author were published, and then we have the H index and the item index, which is in a very simple way, how many articles were cited 10 times or more. Okay, how many articles or how many publications for this author that was cited more than 10 times. Okay, And it's more or less, obviously, the higher the index, the more cited the articles are. So if you go to the advanced search basically is to give you the opportunity to refine your search, to make it narrower or wider. So for example, here you can ask for an exact phrase. So it should, for example, if you're talking about something in Ireland, then it should, if you want the word Ireland to appear in the title, then you to write it. Think about it as an alternative way of writing the search string. So you just put them, and he will the Google Scholar will do the search string for you. Okay, and when we apply this, we'll understand what do you mean by it. How to import. So now we have the references in Google Scholar. We want to send them to Mendeley, right? To put them in our library, in our library in Mendeley. The latest search I did, it was teaching medical ethics in Ireland. So perhaps we can add more. So these are the results that we have. Okay, so now this is the article. This is the first article. This is the PDF. The PDF version of it. Save. If I click save, then it will be saved into. Yes. Now, did you see the pop-up? Save to my library. Okay, you can add it to add it to your reading list, which is the kind of like general, or you can create new, so that, for example, you can even organize your library into, for example, medical education. I mean, this is to me, medical education, public health ethics, whatever the categorization that you want to do. If you click on site, then it will give you the main sites. So for example, if you click on Harvard, it will be all highlighted, and then you can basically copy it and paste it where you want, or you can put if you want to export it. So I click on RefMan. What it does is it asks me where I want to put it, and if you notice here, it's an RIS format cited by 153, for example, here. So it will open, if you open the tab, it will show you the articles that use this as a reference. And then if you click here for the related articles, as I said, it will show you the articles that are related to the topic. Okay, and then you can perhaps want to go through it in more detail, because it's kind of like gives you more ideas perhaps to think about if you're not sure. And then the 18 versions, as I said, if you have the PDF, I usually don't use it. However, if this one, for example, is I have HTML, which is basically, I'm not sure if it's have the PDF for it. So I go for the 8 versions to see if any of them has a PDF version. Yes, for example, here it's available in academia and research guide. Okay, so now I have access to the PDF file. However, the tricky part is that both academia and research guide, yes, they provide the PDF versions. They allow the researcher to do that. However, you need to register and to have an account. Then we have here, as we said, we can control the time or the custom range, which, for example, I want from 2015, for example, and then search. Then it will only be the results from 2015 onwards. If you come here to the advanced search, okay. So this is, as I said, this is where you can go to your profile, and this is my library. This is the others, and this is the metrics, and then the advanced search, which is what we are interested in now. For example, if these are with all the words: teaching, medical ethics, professionalism, medical law, and so on. So, for example, if I want to have the exact phrase, which is like, for example, Ireland, I need only those who are published in Ireland, and then make search, okay? And in the last 2015 till now, and yeah, and search, okay? Then we have only what mentions Ireland in somewhere. But to be more specific, we need to specify that we want the word in the title of the article, teaching medical ethics in the title. So this is, for example, have you noticed here that teaching medical ethics appears in the title, teaching ethics medical appears in the title, ethics teaching medical appears in the title. So this is how it if you want it you can kind of like play around, if you wish, with the formula, with the terms that you are searching for, until you get the reasonable amount of or reduce the number of references. So these are the main features that I wanted you to know about Google Scholar in general. It shows Mendeley Web Importer. Okay, if I click on it, it will automatically read all the references on the page. So now on this page it shows that we have 14 references detected on the page. Okay, and I have all my folders already, so I can choose which folder I want to add them in. So for example, I have a folder called medical education. It's for me to decide whether I want to add specific ones or all of them. Okay, and to be honest, I do it the greedy way, which is basically select all. So I select all and then add them. Okay, so what it does is it takes all of these references on this page. Now they will appear on my medical education on medical education folder in my library. Okay, so for example, if I want to see it in my library, so I go now to view my library. So now we have demonstrated how to find basically the references and how to add them all to Mendeley. In Mendeley itself, if you open it, which is all references, which is basically all the references that you have in the library, the recently added are the recent added references, and then you can change it from here. You can sort the references by added, by the source, or by file. So if you click on duplicates, it brings you all the versions, and then you choose one of them. And then the collection is basically the folders or the subfolders that are in your library. Okay, so this is the kind of the interface for Mendeley. Okay, then if we go one by one, so we have in file, we have export all, which is export all the references that you have in the library. We have the three main formats. If you remember, these were the three main formats that were in Google Scholar as well, right? Which is it's other BibTeX for BibTeX and EndNote and RIS, which is for any other software, Mendeley and others. Okay, so but this is for all the libraries. Watch folder is an interesting feature as well. I think it's really important to consider it. If you are saving files, then the other one is about tools. So we have install Mendeley Web Importer. This is what you've been asking about. And then install Mendeley site for Microsoft Word. And you can search for articles online. And to be honest, I was not impressed by searching articles online compared to Google Scholar, at least. I will show you an example. Now, if you open your Word documents, you will find this icon, which is the Mendeley site. If you couldn't find it, then you need to go to this step, which is basically go to tools and then install the Mendeley site for Microsoft Word. Sign in, but if not, it will be basically it will open this for you. So how can we use this? 2003, and this is the reference. Okay, when I click on, because this is already added and so on. So if I want to add a reference, then click on one or two of the references, and at the end of the sentence, add them. Go click on them and then insert citations. So this is the reference, and then the citation settings is Vancouver. This is the style it's being used now. I want to change it to Harvard, right? So I click change citation style and look for Harvard to publish in BMC Medical Ethics. So or BMC Public Health. So I click type BMC. This is the style. Okay. So this is again a very important feature for Mendeley, that you don't have to search. You can just type the name of the journal and it will make the style for you. So, and you can see that the references here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So if we click Harvard and then update citation style, so what happens is from numbers into, and then the author and the year for all of them. If you go to the list of references at the end, you can see now that the numbers are gone, and then it is it's a different order. It's an alphabetical order. How Harvard style works. Okay, so if I can change the style again, and then say BMC Public Health, and then update, so the references here turns into numbers again. So here it becomes all back into numbers. And to show the last thing that I want to show you is if I don't have a reference list, let's assume that we don't have the reference list here. Now we want to insert the list of references that we are that we use. So we go to the very end. References is usually the last thing in our manuscript. We want to insert the list of references that we have used. Okay. Then we go to these three dots and click on insert bibliography. It tells you that your bibliography will be inserted at your cursor location. So this is very important to make sure that your cursor is on the right position, not in the middle of the text. Okay. So, and if it's here, then say continue and voila. Okay. All the references are added automatically to the style that we have used. If we change the style, the list will change as well. Okay. And all of this is done automatically. Okay. It does all the job for you. Literally by a click, you can change the style. By a click, you add the list of references. By a click, you can change how the list of references look like. To recap, now we have we introduced to Google Scholar, to reference management software, and Mendeley in particular, right? And Mendeley to Google Scholar, and then we have learned hopefully how to export the references from Google Scholar to Mendeley, and then how to insert the references that we use in our Word document, which is basically the manuscript that you'll be working on. Okay. Do you have any questions or anything is not clear about this so far?